It's all about perspective. What's going on, everybody? GemMint here, back again with another statue unboxing and review. We got a new one from Sideshow, another Psylocke premium format. You may have seen me review her regular premium format from their last iteration. They had an Uncanny X-Force variant, and I think that's it. We got a brand new one, and this was the start of this new perspective base idea that they've been playing with, and I'll talk about that more later in the video. Kind of an unassuming art box. You don't really know what you're gonna get, so before we jump into that unboxing, do me a favor, unless you're watching this on TV or something, hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into it. All right, so just a single layer box with tape. Let's remove the lid, take all the plastic off. You can see all the pieces we have, a couple of base pieces, 3 different arms. Let's start with that base. So number 553 out of 2,000. They didn't do an exclusive. There's just one version, and the base is highly detailed. You have all the kind of gravel-like stones on the base, and then on this tower that she's standing on has this nice like weatherized look. You have the moss all over the bottom, and then you have these, I don't know if they're resin or plastic pieces of grass sticking up. You kind of got to be careful with them, but a lot of nice detail and texturing on this base, which, as you can see, has another piece that can key into it. We have a light up feature on that tower as well that we'll see later, but this is the addition that Sideshow is kind of selling as you can display with or without the perspective background, which is why you can see these buildings, they kind of look distorted. It's to give you that perspective look, and you have these buildings along with this nice moon that goes in the back. So here goes the moon. It's cool because it has a small tower in the perspective in the distance as well, with a gray paint job over the left side of it, which makes it look like the light reflecting off the moon. Great texturing here as well. And on the back, we have the dark side of the moon. So very cool addition that you can display or you don't have to. Psylocke either way will be perched up on top of the tower. She's crouched down, and I really like how they did this sash. It feels lightweight but thick and sturdy at the same time. I don't know, they did it pretty well, and it was packaged together with foam around it. The paint job looks great, the movement in the sash is good, and I like that crouched down position. All right, here we have one of the right arm switch outs. This one is going to be used in conjunction with her left hand. She's going to be pulling the sword out of the sheath. Look at the detail, the uniform on the arms going around her elbow and wrist. She has that dark skin tone. It's to look like it's at night, and you'll see more of that as we assemble it, but here goes that left arm switch out. A lot of great detail on that katana, the wraps around the handle. You got a smooth sheath. Look at the detail they put in on the handle here. And if you didn't do the psionic blade switch out, fans would cause riots. So this one is pointing downward. I like the design they used for the blade. And then you have the paint job, the white and the different pinks to purples, the hand looking like it's lit up as well. Very cool. We have a couple of throwing stars that will be plugged into the base, as well as a power supply, which is going to light up the tower that Psylocke is sitting on. Very long cord on this too. And then we have that portrait, and man, I think they nailed the portrait. The eyes look great. I love how they gave her purple eyes, and then it goes with the purple hair that's on the highlights on the top of her head here. They really captured a lot of different tones in the skin, and then the sculpt of the hair, the movement, the individual strands. Bang up job on the portrait. All right, so to get it assembled, we're gonna put the main part of the base down first, and then we're gonna go ahead and add that addition, that perspective base, the buildings in the background. Let's get it into focus. And then let's swing it around and get the moon keyed in as well, on top of that building there. Very cool. I like this direction that they're going in. Let's go ahead and get Psylocke perched up on top. So there you go. I decided to put the regular right arm in first. Then let's go ahead and get that left hand with the sword. And then we'll add the portrait on top. Man, that looks great. A lot of character in this pose. And I love how that right arm is reaching out to grab the blade. Let's switch that out real quick and check the other display option. We'll get that psionic blade arm. And that one changes the whole dynamic. This one's pointing down. She's popping that sword still. Maybe she'll be able to grab it with her left hand at the same time. Who knows? We'll add those throwing stars to the base, so there's just 3 little holes that you got to find, and just make sure you kind of balance them right in there. And lastly, if we swing it to the back, we can plug in that power supply, click the on button, and then you have this flickering light in the window on top of the base that she's sitting on. If you guys are into exclusive variant comic books, you got to check out THATSPIDERMANBOOTH.com. They have a monthly subscription box that gives you 5 comics each month, $100 worth of retail value for just 50 bucks. But in addition, you also get a variant that's exclusive to this box. And for July, we have an Essentia issue 18, an Alex Regal Akira homage, limited to just 600 copies. Head on over to ThatSpidermanBooth.com so you can check out their subscription box today. All right, and there we have it, Psylocke in all her glory. Right now I have her displayed with her right arm reaching for the katana. I got the perspective base in the background. Let's get some measurements on her really quick. The tallest part will be the top of the head here. So she stands about 21.5 inches tall. The width is about 9 inches, and the depth with the moon, it's about 12 inches. And I don't think you're so much saving space if you remove the perspective part. I think that's more so if you didn't like the idea of it, or if it clashes with other pieces you're trying to pair her up with, because you have the same kind of depth even with that sword and the sash and everything. They made 2,000 of these, like we said, with one edition, retailing $625. This is sculpted by Will Harbottle. You got Ian McDonald on the design and Kat Sapine on the paint. I feel like this is the first one that had that perspective base going for it, and at first I didn't really know what to think. I did think that it could clash with other pieces that you wanted to pair her up with, because you're not usually getting a standalone Psylocke statue. It's usually to go with an X-Men display, but I do like it in person. That's what made me get her in the first place, seeing her at Comic-Con last year, and how it's essentially a little diorama with those buildings, the mountain and the trail in the background leading up to that large moon. A lot of detail in the base itself. Even though it's a dark mudded type of color, the texturing looks great in the concrete. You have that light up feature like we shown earlier. You have the grass and like the dark dirty snow on the base as well. And then Psylocke, I love that they did something new and different with the pose. She's perched up there ready to draw her blade. I feel like they were really able to catch her personality in this statue. It feels like Psylocke. I think they got her anatomy correct. They gave her just the right build. It's revealing, but it's still classy and deadly at the same time. The muscle definition is there, the detail in the fabric, all the folds, all those wrinkles looks incredible. And then you have the portrait. That could make or break it. If there's eyes that aren't looking in the right direction and it looks cross-eyed, or if there's teeth that aren't painted well, that really hurts the piece. But this one doesn't suffer from any of that. It's got a closed mouth portrait, so you can't really mess that up. And I love how those purple eyes look. Her left eye hiding behind her bangs, and it's hard to capture in pictures or on video, but in person you can really tell. And the hair looks great as well, man. The purple to black, the movement. I thought I was gonna like the psionic blade switch out more than this switch out, because I thought this would just be the regular arm, but it really adds a different dynamic, like she's reaching over to grab it. But we can still switch it out and give her the blade, which gives it a nice pop of color. You get that pink going there and giving more ties to her comic book roots, looking like it's straight out the comic books. Now, removing this, like I said, I don't think it's so much that you're gonna save space, but maybe you just didn't want that perspective look messing up the rest of the collection. The only thing I think they should have included, if that was the case, was something to cover up the hole in the back. Now, I guess you could argue, you'll position it in the back, you'll never see that. If that's how the display is, then that works perfect, and then you can have it just like this and pair it with any other quarter scale X-Men piece from Sideshow or whoever. Very cool piece, interesting take. This is the era of the perspective base with this one, with the Spider-Gwen, Miles, and Spider-Man trio. Let's see what else we may see coming up at Sideshow Con and San Diego Comic-Con. Let me know what you guys think about Psylocke in the comments down below. Appreciate you watching. Stay minty fresh, and I'll leave you with her spinning on that turntable.